Back to Obamacare now. It has been a week of slipping deadlines to sign up for coverage that begins January 1st. But despite a surge in new customers, even the administration is admitting it still has a long way to go in making a dent in the number of uninsured and in luring the younger, healthier consumers to make the economics of Obamacare work. Erickson joins us now, editor of RedState.com. Alan Colmes, host of the Alan Colmes Show, both Fox News contributors. Guys, good to see you.
Hi.
Alan, let me start with you. People are not, as we say, signing up the way the White House wanted and predicted.
Right. Maybe
the reason is actually underscored by that new CNN ORC poll, which finds that 62% of Americans are opposed to Obamacare, only 35% support it. I mean, maybe it's the case that people don't want to participate in something to which they're opposed.
Well, a lot of people are opposed to it because they want a more simple and perhaps more progressive plan. Not all conservatives, which I find very interesting. And we're seeing more and more people, as you point out, surging in the last few days. What I think they should have done is, for every day that the website was not up and not working properly, they should have extended the deadline by one day, even if they have to go into the new year, which would have given people a lot more time. They should have extended the deadlines beyond the 1st in order to make sure that as many people were in the system when it began as possible.
You know, Eric, the president keeps changing the law. He's made more than a dozen major alterations to it this year alone. You know, the waivers, the exemptions, the delays, the exceptions, and now all the deadline changes. Does that tell you, A, you know, he's desperate to get more people to participate, and B, he may be just adding to the frustration, anger, and chaos?
Yeah, I think so. There are probably a number of people who are looking at all the exemptions coming at the last minute saying, well, I don't have to sign up. I'm sure they'll give me an exemption too, which complicates it for them. And also, a lot of the people who are signing up and getting on, they're technically part of Obamacare, but they're on the Medicare or Medicaid side, not the exchange side. The exchanges are still underfunded because they're undersubscribed by people. And now there's this new problem. Remember, the individual mandate is a tax, according to the Supreme Court. And there is a hardship exemption, but not being able to get it isn't technically an economic hardship under the law. So now you're opening the federal government up to lawsuits by giving these exemptions.
You know, Alan, I'm sure you heard Elizabeth Pran's report at the A block of our show this morning. I mean, the next big question is what's going to happen when people start showing up at doctors and hospitals. You know, these doctors and, you know, the receptionists may look at them and say, sorry, we have no record of you. There's no plan here. There's no enrollment. Isn't that also just going to add to the chaos?
Well, if people will know whether they signed up or whether they didn't sign up. So if you didn't sign up and don't have it, you're not going to expect to go. You're not going to go to. You will have known if you signed up or not. You're not going to go to a doctor having not signed up and expect they're going to have a record of you. But let me point out.
I got news for you, Alan. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Well, I don't think we know that yet, Greg. But I think one thing it's important to point out is that in blue states where there are Democratic governors and Democratic legislatures where they've actually enacted the exchanges and given people more options, you've had more signups and more success. In those red states, with all due respect to Erick's website, in red states where you have less participation and less cooperation, you've had a lot more difficulty with you've had a lot more difficulty with people signing up and fewer choices. And so you see more success in those states that actually participated in the Affordable Care Act.
Well, you know, except in places like Maryland and Oregon and Hawaii and New York and several of the other blue states.
It's not true about New York and Maryland, and it's not true in California.
They're having their own website problems. In fact, in Maryland, it's become a campaign issue between the Lieutenant Governor and Attorney General in the Democratic primary because it's been such a disastrous rollout there. But then, you know, to your issue, Greg, that there are people who are going to go to the doctor because they signed up. But remember, the problems now with the website are on the back end. They're not processing through to the insurance companies. So the people may have their sign-up statement saying they signed up, but the insurance companies don't have a record.
And
if a doctor provides service...
On the back end, Alan, you know, the White House saying, well, we're at a 10% error rate. Insurance companies are saying 10%. That's utter nonsense. It's 30 and 40% error rate, and that's the back end. So again, Alan, I would take issue with your argument here that people are going to have coverage when they show up at their doctors and hospitals.
Conservatives are so invested in this not working that they're still beating the drum about how this is a failure, how it's not going to work. The more time that goes by, the more people are successfully signing up. Like any, excuse me,
White House,
if I could please finish.
I'm not saying conservatives. You said conservatives. The White House admits 10% error rate.
In any big program that's late, that takes a long time to implement. That's why I think they should have given it more time. But any big program like this happened with Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Now you go and try taking that away. You try taking that away from Americans now and see how politically successful and popular that is.
Only we had happy thoughts, it would work.
That's not quite what I said. I'm talking about historical perspective is what I was talking about.
Alan, maybe that's the title of your next book, Happy Thoughts.
Thank you so much. Maybe that's a good idea, and I'll give you some percentage of the profits given that idea.
Please do. Alan Colmes, Erick Erickson, two great guys. Thanks very much.
Thanks. Merry Christmas.